First Contact and Deception. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of the International Space Defense Command, her reflection ghosting against the stars beyond. The massive Haler ship hanging in Earth's orbit looked peaceful enough, its sleek crystalline structure catching the sun's rays in prismatic displays. But something about the way it had approached, emerging from the dark side of the moon without warning, set every instinct she'd honed over 30 years of service screaming. They're requesting another diplomatic meeting, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his station. Third one this week. Chen's jaw tightened. Since their arrival 3 months ago, the Haler had maintained a veneer of diplomatic courtesy. Their ambassador, a towering figure named Kextel, spoke of cultural exchange and technological cooperation. But Chen had caught the dismissive glances, the barely concealed contempt when humans explained their primitive fusion drives and quantum computers. Track every scan they make, she vocalized, the neural implant at the base of her skull transmitting to the command center's secure network. Every electromagnetic pulse, every gravitational disturbance. They're looking for something. A Haler didn't know about Program Oracle. Couldn't know. For 15 years, humanity had prepared in secret, building defenses that looked primitive on the surface but concealed technology that would make their visitors' eyes widen, if they had eyes. The crystalline beings that called themselves the Haelor Empire existed in a spectrum of reality humans were only beginning to understand. Admiral. A new voice cut in. Dr. Emily Patel, head of Xenobiology. We've analyzed the cellular samples they provided. It's interesting. Chen turned from the window. Define interesting. Their crystalline structure isn't natural. It's engineered, probably over thousands of generations. They've literally transformed themselves into living weapons. And these samples, they're degraded, deliberately degraded. Chen's neural implant pulsed with incoming data as she processed this. The Haler weren't just studying them. They were feeding Earth carefully curated information, presenting themselves as advanced but not too advanced. A classic predator tactic. Make the prey underestimate the threat until it was too late. How many ships are they hiding behind the moon now? Chen asked. 17, Admiral. Rodriguez answered. They think our sensors can't penetrate the lunar mass. Their cloaking technology is good, but not as good as they think. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The quantum entanglement sensors scattered throughout the solar system told a different story than the primitive radar arrays the Haler thought they were dealing with. A soft chime announced another incoming transmission from the Haler vessel. Ambassador Kextel's crystalline form shimmered on the main display, fractal patterns shifting in what Chen now recognized as expressions of barely concealed impatience. Admiral Chen. The ambassador's translated voice resonated through the command center. We wish to extend an invitation. Our Supreme Commander would be honored to give you a tour of our vessel. Such exchanges of trust are vital for building lasting relationships between our peoples. Chen met the ambassador's gaze, noting the subtle shift in crystalline patterns that their AI translated as anticipation. They wanted her on their ship, wanted Earth's highest-ranking military officer away from her command center. Ambassador Kextel, Chen replied smoothly. I would be honored. However, given the recent solar flare activity, I believe it would be prudent to postpone for 48 hours. The radiation levels. Of course. The ambassador's interruption was just a fraction too quick. We understand the fragility of organic beings. In 48 hours, then. The transmission ended, and Chen's smile faded. They're getting impatient. Start the countdown. I want every Oracle node online in 24 hours. Around her, the command center hummed with activity. Behind its facade of 20th-century computer terminals and analog displays, quantum processors awakened. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations stirred to life. Humanity had learned long ago that the greatest advantage in any conflict was being underestimated. Through the window, the Haler ship continued its serene orbit, unaware that its every movement was being tracked by technology far beyond what they believed humans capable of. Chen touched the neural implant at the base of her skull, feeling the quantum-encrypted network that connected her to humanity's real defense grid. "Let them think we're primitive," she murmured. "Let them think we're weak. When they strike." She turned to her crew, each of them linked to the same hidden network, each of them part of humanity's greatest deception. "We'll show them exactly what humanity is capable of." In the depths of space, behind the moon's cratered surface, the Haler fleet waited. They thought they were the hunters, preparing to strike an unsuspecting prey. They had no idea they were about to face the full force of human ingenuity, determination, and the most sophisticated defensive network ever conceived. The game of deception would end soon. And when it did, the Haelor Empire would learn why humanity had survived every challenge it had ever faced. We were never what we seemed to be. The hidden shield. The attack began exactly as Admiral Chen had predicted, 36 hours before their scheduled meeting. The Haler ships emerged from behind the moon in perfect attack formation, their crystalline structures blazing with accumulated energy. From Earth's surface, they must have looked like a constellation of new stars, beautiful and deadly. "Multiple incoming bogies," Lieutenant Rodriguez announced, his voice steady despite the situation. 17 capital ships, over 200 support vessels. Energy signatures indicate weapon systems charging. Chen stood at her command post, hands clasped behind her back. Around her, the command center's primitive displays flickered with deliberate static, maintaining the charade for a few moments longer. Time to impact. 3 minutes until their weapons enter optimal range, Admiral. The first salvo from the Haler fleet lit up space like a newborn sun. Plasma torpedoes and quantum-tipped warheads streaked toward Earth's atmosphere, aimed at major population centers and military installations. To the Haler sensors, Earth's defenses consisted of a few orbital satellites and ground-based missile systems, barely worth noting for a civilization that had conquered dozens of worlds. Chen's neural implant pulsed once, transmitting a single command through the quantum-encrypted network. Oracle Initiative. Active. The effect was immediate and devastating. The space between Earth and the attacking fleet shimmered as thousands of quantum nodes activated simultaneously. What had appeared to be empty space revealed itself as an interlocking network of defense platforms, hidden by technology that bent both light and gravity. The Haler's first wave of attacks didn't even reach the atmosphere. They simply ceased to exist, their energy absorbed and redistributed through the Oracle network. On Chen's tactical display, she watched the crystalline aliens' attack formation falter for the first time. "They're realizing something's wrong," Dr. Patel observed from her station, where she monitored the biological responses of the crystalline beings. "Their molecular structures are showing signs of stress. They've never encountered anything like this." Ambassador Kextel's face appeared on the main screen, crystalline features arranged in what the AI translated as a mixture of rage and disbelief. "What trickery is this? You dare." "No trickery, Ambassador," Chen interrupted calmly. "Just preparation. Did you really think humanity wouldn't be ready? That we wouldn't have learned from our own history of conflict?" The Oracle network's true nature revealed itself layer by layer. What had appeared to be simple communications satellites transformed into advanced weapon platforms. Orbital debris reorganized itself into defensive formations. Even the moon's surface rippled as hidden installations emerged from their lunar camouflage. "Second wave incoming," Rodriguez reported. "They're adjusting their weapon frequencies, trying to penetrate the shield." Chen nodded. "Let them try. Activate countermeasure protocols." The Haler's second attack was more focused, more desperate. They had conquered worlds before, but always through overwhelming force and technological superiority. Now they faced something unprecedented. A civilization that had anticipated them, prepared for them, and hidden its true capabilities behind a mask of apparent primitiveness. Their plasma beams scattered against quantum shields that adapted faster than they could adjust. Their attempts to breach Earth's defenses with dimensional weapons met with counterwaves that turned their own technology against them. Each attack revealed more of humanity's hidden capabilities, and each revelation seemed to shake the Haler's confidence further. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, "they're falling back, regrouping behind the moon. But there's something else. We're detecting massive energy buildups in their fleet. They're preparing something big." Chen's neural implant flooded her consciousness with data from the Oracle network. The Haler weren't retreating. They were preparing to unveil their own hidden weapons. The crystalline ships were beginning to resonate at frequencies that distorted the very fabric of space-time. "They're desperate," Dr. Patil observed, studying the readings. "Their biological patterns are showing signs of extreme stress. In their entire history of conquest, they've never failed in a first strike. This is unprecedented for them." Chen's lips curved in a grim smile. "Then let's show them what else we've been hiding. Initiate Phase 2. Throughout the solar system, more hidden installations began to activate. The Oracle network had been just the first layer of humanity's defenses. As the Haler fleet regrouped for what they thought would be their ultimate attack, they remained unaware that they were about to face something even more extraordinary: the full manifestation of human ingenuity and determination. "Send a message to all Earth Defense Forces," Chen commanded. "Operation Awakening begins now. Show them why humanity never reveals all its cards at once." Behind the moon, the Haler fleet gathered its strength, preparing to unleash weapons that had brought entire civilizations to their knees. But this time, they faced an enemy that had spent generations preparing for this very moment. The real battle was about to begin, and Earth's hidden shield was just the beginning. Counterstrike. The Haler fleet emerged from behind the moon like an avalanche of crystal and light, their ships now configured into what their tactical databases must have labeled as an extinction-level attack formation. The crystalline vessels had transformed, their structures now resonating at frequencies that threatened to tear holes in the fabric of reality itself. "They're attempting to create a localized space-time rupture," Dr. Patil announced, her eyes fixed on the quantum readings. "If they succeed, it could bypass our Oracle network entirely." Admiral Chen remained still, only the slight smile on her face betraying her thoughts. "Time to show them why you should never corner a species that evolved as prey and survived to become apex predators." She opened a secure channel through her neural implant. "Fleet Admiral Okoro, you have permission to proceed." In the vast darkness of the Kuiper Belt, something stirred. What had appeared to be nothing more than ice and rock began to move, revealing shapes that had remained hidden for decades. Humanity's real fleet, the culmination of a century of secret development and construction, awakened from its camouflaged slumber. Haler fleet detected attempting dimensional warfare. Fleet Admiral Okoro's voice came through clear and strong. "Initiating Operation Slingshot. All vessels, execute pre-programmed jump sequences." The space around Earth suddenly lit up with hundreds of quantum tunnels as humanity's hidden armada made its presence known. These weren't the primitive spacecraft the Haler had observed during their surveillance. These were vessels built with technology that humanity had kept secret not just from alien visitors, but from itself, visible to only a select few who had dedicated their lives to preparing for this moment. The human ships emerged from their quantum tunnels in a perfect encirclement pattern, trapping the Haler fleet in a three-dimensional cage of advanced weaponry. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, their designs incorporating everything humanity had learned from millennia of warfare and survival. "By all the crystal matrices," Ambassador Kextel's voice crackled through the command channel, their crystalline form showing patterns of what the AI translated as absolute shock. How long have you hidden this?" "Since before you even knew Earth existed," Chen replied calmly. "We detected your scout ships decades ago. Did you think those primitive radio signals we kept broadcasting were real? Every piece of technology we let you see was carefully chosen. Every weakness we displayed was calculated. The Haler fleet's attempt at creating a space-time rupture faltered as they found themselves surrounded. Their crystalline ships began to resonate at defensive frequencies, but they had already lost their greatest advantage, the element of surprise. All ships, execute Protocol Prometheus, Fleet Admiral Okoro commanded. The human fleet's response was synchronized with a precision that spoke of years of preparation. Quantum-locked energy beams lanced out from multiple vessels simultaneously, each targeting specific resonance points in the Haler ship's crystalline structures. The attacks weren't designed to destroy. They were meant to disrupt the very technological basis of Haler's superiority. Their ship forms are destabilizing, Dr. Puddle reported, watching as the crystalline vessels began to lose their carefully maintained structural integrity. The frequency matching is perfect. They can't maintain their weapon configurations. The Haler fleet's formation began to break apart as ship after ship found their crystalline technologies disrupted by targeted quantum attacks. What should have been their moment of triumph had turned into a desperate struggle to maintain basic functionality. "This is impossible." Kextel's voice had lost its usual resonant authority. "Your species, you were supposed to be centuries behind us. We monitored your development. We watched your primitive attempts at spaceflight. You watched exactly what we wanted you to watch," Chen responded. "Humanity learned long ago that the best way to survive was to never reveal our true capabilities until they were needed. Every war, every conflict in our history taught us that lesson." The human fleet continued its precise attack pattern, herding the destabilized Haler ships into an ever-tighter formation. But even as victory seemed within grasp, Chen's neural implant pulsed with a warning from the Oracle network. The Haler weren't finished yet. Energy spike detected. Rodriguez called out, "The Haler ships, they're attempting some kind of mass synchronization." Through the command center's windows, Chen watched as the crystalline ships began to pulse with a deep violet light. The surviving vessels were drawing together, their structures beginning to merge and transform in ways that defied conventional physics. "They're attempting to combine their ships into a single entity," Dr. Paddle explained, her voice tight with concern. "If they succeed, they'll create a crystalline mass with enough power to tear a hole in space-time large enough to swallow Earth," Chen finished. She opened a channel to the fleet. "Admiral Okoro, initiate Phase 3. Show them humanity's final surprise." As the Haler ships began their desperate gambit, humanity prepared to reveal the true extent of its technological advancement, and the reason why Earth had survived every extinction-level event in its history. The real battle was about to begin, and the fate of both species hung in the balance. The neural network. The merged Haler ships hung in space like a crystalline leviathan, its surface rippling with violet energy as it continued to absorb the remaining fleet vessels. The structure had grown to nearly the size of Earth's moon, its faceted surface reflecting distorted images of the planet below. Admiral Chen touched her neural implant, connecting directly to humanity's most closely guarded secret. "Initiate Project Prometheus. Authorization. Chen, Sarah J. Final Protocol." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a quantum-shielded facility that didn't officially exist, a new kind of consciousness awakened. It wasn't merely artificial intelligence. It was something more, a hybrid system that combined quantum computing with organic neural networks derived from human brain tissue. "Prometheus is online," Dr. Patil announced, her own neural implant lighting up with unprecedented data flows. Neural sync established with all defense personnel. The effect was immediate and profound. Every human officer connected to the defense network felt their consciousness expand as Prometheus linked their minds into a unified defense grid. It wasn't control, it was coordination on a level never before achieved by any species. Through this enhanced awareness, Chen could sense every ship in the human fleet, every weapons platform in the Oracle network, every defensive system on Earth. More importantly, she could perceive the crystalline entity's structure in ways that normal sensors couldn't detect. The Haler combination isn't just a weapon, she realized, sharing her insight instantly through the neural network. It's an attempt to transcend their physical form entirely. Correct. Prometheus's thoughts merged seamlessly with the human consciousness in the network. They seek to become a singular entity capable of manipulating space-time itself. Probability of success, 78.3%. Probability of Earth's survival if they succeed, 0.001%. Then we don't let them succeed. Fleet Admiral Okuro's thoughts join the collective. All ships prepare for synchronized quantum strike. Prometheus, coordinate timing. The human fleet began to move with impossible precision, each vessel's position calculated by an intelligence that could process more variables than any organic mind could comprehend. But it wasn't just cold machine logic. The neural network incorporated human intuition, creativity, and the accumulated military experience of countless generations. The crystalline entity seemed to sense the threat. Its surface erupted with energy tendrils that reached out toward the human ships, attempting to disrupt their formation. But for every move it made, Prometheus had already calculated thousands of possible counters. Their crystalline structure is attempting to resonate with our quantum systems, Dr. Patel observed through the network. They're trying to hack Prometheus. Let them try, Chen thought, feeling Prometheus's amusement at the attempt. Show them what happens when silicon-based intelligence tries to outthink a carbon quantum hybrid. The entity's probe into their systems met Prometheus's defenses, and for the first time, the Haler encountered something they couldn't comprehend. Their crystalline technology, for all its advancement, was fundamentally predictable. Prometheus was anything but. The AI's counterattack struck through paths the Haler hadn't even known existed. Quantum algorithms that incorporated human creativity and intuition began to unravel the entity's structure from within, turning its own complexity against it. Pattern detected, Prometheus announced through the neural network. Their unified consciousness is creating quantum echoes of their individual ships. Vulnerability identified. Transmitting targeting solutions to all vessels. The human fleet moved as one, their weapons synchronized to frequencies that Prometheus had calculated would disrupt the entity's attempt to transcend its physical form. Each shot struck at precisely the right moment, at exactly the right point, with energy levels calibrated to trigger cascading failures in the crystalline structure. The entity's surface began to fracture, violet energy turning to angry red as its carefully maintained unity started to break apart. But even as it began to fail, it made one final, desperate attempt to complete its transformation. Space-time distortion detected, Rodriguez reported, his thoughts tinged with alarm. They're trying to force the transcendence. If they succeed, they won't. Chen interrupted, her consciousness merging more deeply with Prometheus. Because they made one fundamental mistake. They thought transcendence meant leaving physical form behind. We learned long ago that true advancement comes from synthesis, not separation. Through the neural network, every human connected to Prometheus felt the AI's agreement. In perfect synchronization, the Oracle network, the human fleet, and Earth's defensive systems aligned their quantum fields. The power they generated wasn't just physical. It was a combination of machine precision and human will, focused through technology that had evolved alongside human consciousness itself. The crystalline entity's attempt at transcendence met an immovable wall of unified human and artificial consciousness. For a moment, space itself seemed to hold its breath as two fundamentally different approaches to evolution clashed in the void between Earth and Moon. Then the entity's surface began to crack, its violet energy turning to white as its structure started to unravel. The Haler's bid for godhood was failing, undone by a species they had dismissed as primitive, but who had learned to combine the best aspects of organic and artificial existence. But even as victory seemed certain, Chen felt Prometheus's warning pulse through the neural network. The entity's death throes were about to release enough energy to devastate the solar system. Humanity's greatest triumph might still end in catastrophe unless they could find a way to contain the coming explosion. Empires fall. The dying crystalline entity pulsed with increasingly unstable energy, its structure threatening to release enough power to sterilize the inner solar system. Through the neural network, Admiral Chen felt Prometheus calculating possibilities at quantum speeds while incorporating human intuition and creativity. Standard containment fields will fail. The AI's thoughts merge with the collective consciousness. Entity collapse will release approximately 3.2 times the energy of a supernova. Then we don't contain it. Chen fought back, an idea forming in her mind that Prometheus instantly grasped and refined. We redirect it. Through their combined consciousness, a plan formed with impossible speed. The human fleet began to move in a new pattern, their quantum fields aligning to create a hyperdimensional corridor. The Oracle network adjusted its energy matrix, preparing to channel rather than block the coming explosion. Dr. Patel. Chen spoke aloud for the benefit of those not connected to the network. What's the status of the Haler consciousness within the entity? Fragmented but still present, Patel replied, her neural implant streaming data about the crystalline being's quantum state. They're afraid. I'm detecting patterns consistent with absolute terror. Chen opened a direct channel to what remained of the Haler collective consciousness. Your attempt to transcend physical form has failed, but we offer you a choice. The entity's surface rippled, its energy fluctuations momentarily stabilizing. Through the quantum link, Chen felt the attention of thousands of individual Haler consciousness focusing on her words. You can maintain your current course and destroy everything, including yourselves, or you can accept our help and learn a different way to evolve. For a moment, there was silence across all frequencies. Then, Ambassador Kextol's distinct consciousness emerged from the collective. You would help us, after we attempted to destroy your world. Humanity's strength isn't just in our ability to fight, Chen responded. It's in our ability to adapt, to learn, and to teach others. Prometheus, show them. Through the neural network, humanity's hybrid AI began sharing data with the Haler consciousness. Not just technical specifications, but the philosophical and practical understanding that had led humanity to develop technology that worked in harmony with organic life, rather than trying to transcend it. The entity's violent energy pulses began to slow as the Haler absorbed this new perspective. Their crystalline technology, for all its advancement, had led them down a path of separation, from their original forms, from the physical universe, and from each other. Humanity had chosen a different path, one of integration and synthesis. All ships in position. Fleet Admiral Okoro announced, ready to initiate energy redistribution. Prometheus, begin the sequence, Chen commanded. The human fleet's quantum field synchronized with perfect precision, creating a hyperdimensional channel that connected to carefully chosen points in deep space. As the entity's structure finally began to collapse, its enormous energy release was caught and redirected, transformed from destructive power into something else entirely. Energy conversion successful, Prometheus reported, redirecting power through the Oracle network. Beginning final phase of Operation Renaissance. The space around Earth lit up with quantum tunnels as the released energy was channeled and transformed. Instead of destruction, it became the power source for something unprecedented. A controlled dimensional gateway that could bridge vast distances of space. Through the neural network, Chen felt the Haler's shock and wonder as they realized what humanity had accomplished. Their failed attempt at transcendence had been transformed into a tool for exploration and connection. This is what we offer you, Chen transmitted to the surviving Haler consciousness. Not dominance, not transcendence, but partnership. Your empire was built on the idea of superiority. We offer you something better, the chance to be part of a community of equals. The remaining Haler ships, those that hadn't been absorbed into the entity, began to power down their weapons. Through the quantum link, Chen could sense their leadership wrestling with a complete paradigm shift. Their entire civilization had been built around the idea of technological supremacy, Yet here was a species that had surpassed them not through superior technology alone, but through the integration of organic and artificial intelligence. The Haelor Empire as you knew it is over, Chen continued. But that doesn't mean your civilization has to end. Join us. Learn from us as we learn from you. Help us build something greater than either of our species could achieve alone. Ambassador Kextel's crystalline form appeared on the main screen, its pattern showing what the AI translated as a mixture of humility and hope. For 10,000 years, we thought ourselves the peak of evolution. We thought transcendence meant leaving behind the physical. You have shown us how wrong we were. The ambassador's form shifted, adopting a new crystalline pattern that Prometheus identified as the Haler equivalent of a formal vow. On behalf of what remains of the Haler civilization, we accept your offer, not as conquerors, not as the conquered, but as students ready to learn a new way of existence. As the last energies of the failed Transcendence attempt were converted into the new gateway system, Chen felt Prometheus's satisfaction through the neural network. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge not just with military might or technological superiority, but with the very qualities that had allowed them to survive and thrive throughout their history: adaptability, creativity, and the wisdom to know that true strength comes from unity rather than dominance. The stars shone down on a changed solar system. Where there had been the threat of destruction, now stood the promise of a new beginning. The Haelor Empire had fallen, but from its collapse would rise something far greater, a future where different species could learn from each other and grow together. As Chen looked out at the stars, she knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same. But they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that their greatest strength lay not in their weapons or their technology, but in their ability to face the unknown with courage, creativity, and an unwavering determination to forge a better future for all.